Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 39 of the Sports Card Advantage podcast, Christmas edition. It is December 21st, 2021 at 9:37 p.m. This episode will air the day before Christmas Eve. So, as always, I'm joined by my favorite co-host, Bunk. What's going on, buddy?
I'm watching Jalen Hurts put the finishing touches on his fantasy upset over you.
And I was just about to make fun of you and call you Santa Claus and was decided to be nice, and then you fucking stabbed me right in the heart and ruined my fantasy dreams. So
Sorry, guy. Jalen Hurts.
yeah, Jalen Hurts took me out. Bunk has already lost and didn't even make the playoffs in our other league. So
Didn't make the playoffs, and I'm currently the fantasy point leader as of the second.
That is a shame.
I was the 9th seed, which doesn't make the playoffs, and I'm leading the whole league in points. How is that possible?
We'll get you a participation trophy, buddy. All right, so let's move right into it. As usual, Sports Card Advantage business. Going to bring back the giveaway this week for Christmas. This is a special callback edition of the prize that we're going to give away. For those of you that are longtime listeners, you know that a while back I made the impulsive buy of a Devin Booker card on eBay, which I thought was a raw Devin Booker Silver Prism 2015, in hopes of grading it just because it looked good, price was good. What I did not know, it was not the silver card. It was the base card, and we're going to give that base card away. Comping right now at like 117, 120 bucks. I'm sure that'll also go up a little bit as we move into January. So hopefully it's a nice little Christmas gift for one of you. And what we're going to do to enter is ask you guys to comment and follow on Instagram or Twitter. We're going to be posting the release of the episode on both channels, so comment or post on one for one entry or both for two entries. So as long as you're following us and you place a comment on the post that we put up for this week's episode, you'll be entered to win, and we'll do the drawing next week. So it's a 2015 Devin Booker base card. As I said, it's comping for about 120 bucks. And any questions for the
some bonus entries?
Well, bonus entries are, you can follow and comment on two channels and get two entries. But unless you can think of
how about 5 entries for the coolest emoji combo to describe Jeff?
Judges will allow it.
I'll pick a winner.
All right. I don't think Bunk's ever been on Instagram, but we'll have to.
I'm there. I'm on it.
We'll have to introduce him. Yeah, your name is like some weird sexual innuendo for Adam Dunn, like I love donkey or something like that.
Oh God.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll take that 5 entries for the best emoji combo to describe me. I don't know how that happened, but
no words. Just pictures.
We'll let it ride. Anyway, any questions for the show, send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, SportsCardADVTG. Any other sports card business, or maybe you have some other creative ideas for 10 entries for this contest?
No, I think that's enough.
You think that's efficient? All right, let's jump in. This week we got a ton of stuff to talk about. First up on the docket is there's a conversation, I guess, that's going around. I've seen it mentioned on a few social media channels, a couple podcasts. People referring to this most recent era of cards, at least your 2017 to 2020 era, as the junk slab era. For those of you that are unfamiliar, I think what was the 80s and 90s basically was referred to as the junk wax era because of the overprinting of cards. There was so much supply that the cards were basically worthless. And now people are calling, this era, the last few years, the junk slab era, because everybody has submitted everything to PSA, BGS, SGC for grading, and now you have certain cards that literally have pops of 20 plus thousand. So what's your take here on is this the quote unquote junk slab era?
I mean, by definition, I guess so. I mean, what did that? I saw that one post. So it suggested there's been a 10-time increase in submissions and cards mailed out from November of 2020 to November of 2021. So we're to go from like 700,000 to 7 million.
I mean, the before PSA turned off the faucet, you know, I've heard Nat Turner quoted as saying they were receiving 600,000 cards a day.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. This has been. I think I saw someone first reference it over the summer. I think it's been out there for a while. I don't know who coined the term, but it's and or why it's picked up steam lately. But someone's been doing a lot of research on the numbers, and I've seen a lot of posts on
Well, yeah,
total cards graded.
you got
The
Ryan.
one guy, the guys were talking about that prison basketball set, right? 2019 prison basketball,
Yeah,
most
well,
graded set ever.
2019 Prison Basketball, you have Zion at uh, something like 20 something thousand. Yeah, PSA 10 Zion is 20,281 on the 10 and 16,170 on the 9. So that's those two cards.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, listen.
36,000.
I mean, so what are some of the things that fueled this, right? I mean, we had the whole shutdown, the pandemic, social media obviously was a big key here. You had billions of cards all of a sudden that should never have been graded, got graded, and the train just took off from there. We got dozens, if not hundreds, of hobby influencers now, and they were all coming on throughout this last 18 months talking about grading cards and that's the future and it's an asset and blah 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 blah. Look at this graded card I have. So everyone, without doing much homework on a lot of these things, sent everything they had in.
Yeah. Yeah, people
Every and
opened a
now you
pack
got
of high-end cards and literally sent the whole pack in to get graded
yeah.
because it was $8 a piece.
I mean, it's terrible actually. Look at that. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago. The 2018 baseball class, Acuna, Soto, and Otani. You can't find. We're talking 15, 20, 25K on some of those tens. Does that essentially ruin their graded value moving forward?
On the base cards, yeah, but even so, like, I mean, the difference I think between the junk wax era and the junk slab era, if you want to refer to it as that, it is just the I guess the value. I mean, junk wax, you're talking about cards that are worth pennies. I mean, Zion at 20,000 pop, still the card's still worth 200, still selling for $200. For most people that are out there collecting, a $200 card is their top card in their collection. I mean, so I think junk is the wrong word. Um, you know, overgraded, which doesn't have the same ring to it, but I don't think junk is the right word to refer to it. I mean, Zion hasn't played all season. He's been getting destroyed in the media. 21,000 pop, and it's still going for $200. And as soon as he steps on the court, that card is going to go up. I
Right.
mean, it's just so. And the Griffey is another example. 1989 Upper Deck Griffey. There's 43,000 of those between nines and tens, and that card at 9 is still going for 250.
Well, at least I mean that card's a little different in the sense that he's already a Hall of Famer, and it's the most one of the most iconic cards ever. It's card number one of the inaugural Upper Deck set, so that's going to have some staying power regardless. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to I mean, for starters, people also having a big problem with it costs more to grade right now than a lot of these cards are worth. So I
Yeah.
don't know as prices come back down and we had this little, what is it now, 6 8 months of shut down from the economy prices and the higher end stuff. Are we going to see another shift again as stuff's, you're going to start seeing pops come back down
Well,
on certain things.
I mean, so the queuing system from PSA is open. It's $100, and it's basically, there's a certain volume that's being let in every week, so that they can make sure that they stay ahead of it. But I don't know. PSA. Nat Turner has been on a few podcasts recently, and they're talking about being able to at some point return to economy. But I think that um, there's going to be a limit, that they're going to allow a certain amount of cards that are going to be let in at a certain price, and I don't think they're going to get below $25. To tell you the truth, I mean, it's just
Well,
stupid.
right, and if that's the case, if the lowest it goes is $25, you're not going to see the number of cards that we see now get graded. It's just simply not going to happen. A lot of people, they hopped on this because they were getting group subs, 100 cards, $8. They're not going to pay $25 a pop for the same kind of volume.
Yeah.
So in the next couple of years, if that's the case, that's what I mean by pops coming. Obviously, you can't lower the pops of existing cards, but in the next couple of years, if that's the trend we're going to, you won't see the next class, the next great baseball class. You're not going to see the 25K on the PSA 10s of those guys moving forward.
Yeah, and
So looking back, when we look back at these few years, that I think that'll hold the better term of the junk slab era, because you're just going to have these massive pop reports compared to the era before and the era after.
yeah, I would agree. I mean, you start looking at 14, 15, 16, you don't have anywhere near the pops. And then as soon as you start to get into 17, those go up a little bit. And then 18, it was out of control. Once you hit 2018, you had Luca, Trey, Acuna, Otani. I mean, all these guys,
Soto,
Soto,
yep.
whatever. I mean, everything just came in, and things got flooded. I still think junk's the wrong word. Yes, it's big pops and overgraded, but I don't call a $200 card junk.
No, I would agree with that.
And I mean, on some of the baseball stuff, yeah, some of those cards that are in the tens of thousands, those are 110, 150, ish cards. Even that, I don't call those junk. There's a
Yeah,
lot of them, and there's big pops, but to me, still not garbage. I'll take $100 bill anytime you want to give it to me.
yeah. I mean, people are just calling it to call it.
Yeah,
So you hit like on their post and blah blah blah. I mean, who cares what the hell you call? I mean, we don't need to call it an error. Just know what the hell you're buying.
get off
If there's
my lawn.
25K of a card, PSA 10, it's almost a base card at that point. So
Yeah,
don't pay more than you should for it.
yeah,
Go
100%.
after the parallels and the lower nine. Go after the colored cards. Go after the refractors.
Yeah,
Scarcity's still going to rule.
yep.
So if that's what you got to do in those few years because you want the better value, the higher dollar card, that's what you do. Just know what you're buying.
Yep, 100%. I mean, you got to stay within your budget, to either buying raw, buying lower grades, or base, or, if you have a higher budget, so you're looking for things that are going to appreciate in value, things where pops aren't going to grow huge. So that's refractors, colors, autos, et cetera. That's where we are now. That's the state of the market. I don't see it shifting. I don't think base is ever going to make a comeback. So I think that's the direction that we're going to go. And you just got to keep, if you're looking at this as investment slash flip, then you got to be looking for things that are going to be scarce. And if it's your collector PC, then it doesn't matter. You collect what you want, collect what you can afford.
Yeah, and I would continue to monitor. I bet you though that, and I keep talking about it because it's the best example of that 2018 baseball class. Those tens, whether it's off season, teams out of the playoff, etc., are going to continue to go lower and lower and lower
Yeah.
over time. And
Yep.
then once they hit a point where all of a sudden Soto is establishing himself, 5 years from now, and his numbers just look like they're going to be off the charts, and he wins an MVP, and then you kind of feel better about the fact that he's going to have this huge, sustained Hall of Fame guided career. Then they'll start going up again, and they'll hold value like some of the older cards that have that kind of a pop. But for now, I think they're going to continue to trend downward.
Yeah. I mean, that's the direction that we're going. when you could always look on eBay or any place else and get your hands on one. There's no scarcity, so you're able to buy it whenever you want it. So but even that, look at like a Luca PSA 10 base. There's creeping on 20,000 on those. I think there's 18 right now, and those are still maintaining at $500. So I mean, you could go out and buy those whenever you wanted to, as long as you got the $500.
Yeah, and what were they were in thousands at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, they were a lot more than they are now. I mean, I think it hit 2,000 at one point.
Yeah. I mean, as the days, months go on here, you're gonna start seeing the discrepancies in prices over, the few years prior. Now again, the big difference is gonna be it wasn't the business as you call it
Huh.
the few years prior, but the whole all the COVID stuff has a lot to do with some of this stuff, I believe.
Yeah, Luca 455 last sale. That's crazy. This thing hit 2K at one point, and not too long ago. Basically a year ago, exactly a year ago, this thing peaked at 2 grand, and now we're at 25% of that.
Yep.
So, I mean, not calling
Yes.
it junk, but there's definitely something to be said for high pops and base and the value. And at some point, this thing will bottom. And I think that we're pretty damn close to where I think, unless he continues to, he's producing, he's performing. He's still averaging 25 and 10 basically, and playing good basketball. So at some point those things will bottom out. It's just a matter of, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna bounce. They'll probably just go sideways. I mean, they'll go up and down, maybe $100 here and there, but unless it's something that you want for your PC, I don't think that with pops that high, you're ever gonna see a surge just because there's so much supply.
Right.
There's not gonna be enough demand that's gonna gobble up that
Yeah.
many.
Plus, you just got a lot of mad people on Twitter and stuff. They got in, they're brand new, they got in, the going was good. Now the going's not so good, and now they're blaming, they're blaming all the influencers, and they're
Oh
blaming the
yeah.
pump and dumpers, and they're blaming this, that, and the other
Oh,
thing. I
there
mean,
there was a
so
ton there was a
but
ton
the
of
people just read that
buying.
and go, "Oh yeah, junk wax, junk slabs." I mean, come on, you
And
know what's going on. It's really not a big deal.
there was a ton of buying on this card before basketball season started at $800, and you're now almost half of that, and it's not even really due to performance. As far as I know, Luka's still killing it. uh
Yeah, I think things are just coming back down to maybe where they would have been if we, didn't have all these new people and entities and big business in the hobby. If we just kind of stayed the course for a while, who knows?
yeah, Luka's scoring 25 a game, averaging 8 rebounds and 8.5 assists. So he's, as far as overall talent in the league, he's still up there, but his prices are still falling. So it's nothing to do with performance.
No, nothing. Again, a lot of people have come and gone. They
Yeah.
pumped big bucks in and got burned, and they're gone, and they're not doing some of the buying anymore, and things are kind of resettling.
Yep. And I think
I
that's
mean, I
what
think that's fact. And then,
that.
yeah, sure. 10 years from now, we're gonna look back and we see all these extra graded cards in these few year period. Fine, and you get a couple likes if you put hashtag junk slab.
Well, 2020,
Don't
2021 was,
buy it. If it's junk to you, don't buy it.
yeah, 2020, 2021 was the year of the moon, and now it's going to be the year of a regular market movement. Things are going to settle. I think this has been the time where the last gasp of stuff has gone out, and people have sold out for different things. And I think the first quarter of 2022 is really going to be an indication of how this market goes for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
um,
so go pick out yourself a nice 7.5 of a nice raw, nice card that's a 7.5 that no one's going to touch from some bootleg grading company. And you'll have yourself a nice bargain in a few years.
all right. Anyway,
That's what
all right.
that's what I would do.
Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but we'll move on.
You don't collect anything.
I do
Except
not.
dollar bills.
That is exactly what I collect. Dead presidents. That is green dead presidents. The one of one green dead presidents. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna move right into and segue into something that our mantra on this podcast of do your homework. And I was in the process of doing some card research and looking for opportunities to buy for us. And one of the things I was searching was looking for any gold parallels, and looking for higher end stuff so that we could buy raw and look to grade, or graded and look to crack and resub. So I came across a 2020 Bowman Gold Gabriel Moreno auto that was up raw. It was in, to me, naked eye on eBay, looked like it was in fantastic condition. And normally our process is I do the scouting, I send to Bunk. Bunk does the critical eye, because my personality is a little bit more impulsive, and he is the backstop to make sure I don't buy a whole bunch of dumb shit that we're going to lose money on. And he is the more critical eye to make sure that whatever. So I was just about to send it to him, then I go to 130 to look up comps, and lo and behold, I see the same Gabriel Moreno gold card at a 50, graded by a company called TGA, who I have no idea who the hell that is, and it was a TGA 9. So this guy that was selling this card raw bought it in a TGA 9 for $900, cracked it out of the TGA 9, and then put it up raw. And lo and behold, this card closed for $12.22. So today's lesson in do your homework is, when you comp stuff, especially if it's low numbered or numbered at all, to see if somebody has done this. Because right now, raw, especially things that are clean, naked eye on eBay, it's going to be real hard to tell a 9 and a 10. So raw stuff is selling for more than 9s. So what this person,
right, because people are buying the 10.
Yeah, people are buying in
especially on
hopes.
scare stuff.
Yeah, people are buying in hopes of getting the 10. So this card at a 10 is going to be probably $2,000 plus 2,500. So this person cracked it out of the TGA 9 that they got for $900 and wound up making a $300 profit. So if I had not seen
Even after
this,
fees, he cleared 300.
I mean 250. After fees.
All right.
As far as that goes, he
Still
bought.
good for all he did was crack it and repicture it.
Yeah, I mean that's basically all he did was crack it and repost it, and that's $250 for 10 minutes worth of work.
Yeah, and what you're saying sounds tedious, but if you're looking up a scarce card and there's only 50 copies, 25 copies, when you do your comps and they come up, there's only going to be a handful there, if any, to begin with. So
Yeah.
it's not really a big deal to go and look and check serial numbers. I mean, look at all the cards we found all the time. I'm just like, well, wow, that looks like the same background as the card we looked at the other. And sure enough,
Yeah.
same card, just resold again and again and again. And you can see where comps are not legitimate because it was resold, it was sold, not paid for, relisted, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I didn't even bother to send it to you. And it's not something that we want to take the risk on, paying a premium to buy it raw and then paying another $150 to get it graded in hopes that it's a PSA 10 versus a TGA 9, whoever TGA is.
Well, perhaps if TJ put out a good AI video for you, you would have thought
Yeah,
differently.
where they use a whole bunch of big words that nobody understands. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, it's just a simple thing, but it just goes to show that there is a lot of this going on where people are trying to make bucks. And if you're one of those people that are like us, that's trying to buy raw and grade, it is 100% possibility that this card has already been graded. Somebody has cracked it out of that case and sold it raw, because right now people are paying for the hopes of a 10. Because that's the way that they're making their money in the hobby. So be very wary of that. Anything serial numbered, keep your eyes open. Use 130, and make sure that you're trying to figure out whether or not this graded an 8, 8.5, 9, whatever it is, and then somebody's trying to make a few $100 on a raw.
Yeah, it won't happen often, but if that information's available to you, I sure as heck would like to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, all right, so we'll move on to the next thing that we have. Just some quick upcoming releases. Holiday season, not a ton going on right now, but this week you have high-end baseball product. So Flawless Baseball 2021 Flawless Baseball is coming out. Some really cool patches, patch autos. They have like some diamond parallels where diamonds are in the cards. Definitely a more expensive product for baseball, but some cool stuff. Non-logo from Panini, and then Panini Illusions Football. It's $450 box, which for footballs on the cheap side. Or
Does it
average
have more than one
price.
pack in it?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
But yeah, I
Five
would agree with you.
five cards per pack, 10 packs per box, three
Nice 50
autos.
cards for 450. That's a bargain these
Yeah.
days.
Three autos, two memorabilia cards, five parallels, 10 acetate inserts per box on average. So, I mean, three autos and two memorabilia, probably patch cards for 450 is decent, but at the same time, I'm not getting too excited just because the resale value of this year's QB class is pretty dog shit other than Mac Jones. Yeah, speaking of resale value of this year's quarterback class, including Mac Jones, we have a NFL playoff preview Slab War segment, which we have two quarterbacks that are pretty much guaranteed to be making the playoffs. We'll look at Mac Jones and Aaron Rodgers. For those of you that are new to the podcast, Slab Wars is a segment that we do where we look at one card and we look at the 3.5 major grading companies, being PSA, BGS, SGC, and HGA and/or CSG, depending on whatever we can find, and then just look at the prices. So some interesting stuff from your boys at Beckett this week. So I'll jump right in. The 2021
Did they
Donruss.
close? Did they announce their closure or shutdown?
They did not announce their closure
Oh, well,
shutdown.
that's good news.
Just some interesting stuff on pricing. You have 2021 Donruss Mac Jones. This is probably the most common Mac Jones card that's available right now. At one point, a PSA 10 of this card was doing over $1,000, which is just nuts for a Donruss base card. Even now, you're looking at PSA 10 did 306, SGC 10 did 202, and HGA 95, which is surprising because it normally is right on par with the SGC 10, did 107, and BGS 95 did 305. So your PSA and BGS neck and neck with each other, and then your HGA is 30% of your PSA, and SGC is about 60%. Those are on par. Usually HGA and SGC are closer to each other in value, but 60% on the low end of PSA is right on par. Usually BGS is lower, but there seems to be a little bit more interest on the BGS 9.5.
Even if it had 6 subgrades, you're not cracking that and sending it to PSA.
No, not at all. There's not enough room, but it's more just a comparison. Trying to keep everybody informed of how these things are continuing to stack up. There are some influencers slash podcasts slash people that take SGC's money every month that are trying to continue to rally around SGC and say that that the values are creeping up and getting closer, and every couple of weeks that we do this, it doesn't get any better, it doesn't get any closer. It's anywhere from 25 to 60% depending on how valuable the card is. Higher end stuff, SGC is lower. Lower end stuff, the prices are tighter just because there's less of a numbers gap between them, which will be illustrated in the next The 2005 Topps Aaron Rodgers. We actually have a BGS 10 to report for the first time in this segment, so you can
Just
do.
please tell me that outsells the PSA
Yes,
10.
you can do your BG. I'm
Just
giving
please
you.
tell me it
I'm
does.
giving you plenty of room to do your BGS dance here. So hold on. Um, 2005 Topps Aaron Rodgers PSA 10 730 BGS 10 1999. So
Yes.
more than double the PSA. BGS 95 406, SGC 10 444, and HGA 95 bringing up the rear at 360. So, both these guys going to be in the
Who was
playoffs.
406? Sorry to interrupt.
The BGS 95 was 406.
Then yeah, okay.
So yeah, both these guys heading into the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see where their values go. But the main purpose of this is just to give you an idea of where prices continue to stack up on relevant cards, and this illustrates BGS 10 is always king. It's always the lowest pop. Everybody knows that it's the harshest graded, the hardest grade to pull. So that's why it's 2.3 times the value of PSA 10. Usually it's not that much of a separation, but you're definitely seeing it with this card because it's a 15-year-old paper Topps card. And the pop is next to nothing on that BGS 10. So that concludes this week's Slab War segment. We'll continue to do these every couple of weeks and keep you guys updated on prices. If there's any cards that you want us to take a look at in comparison, just send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage, or just reach out to us, DM us, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Due to the fact that Bunk was dragged around creation for Christmas errands, we do not have a Bunk's off-season guide to baseball this week. So we'll have to wait until the new year, I guess, or next week until for that
We
to
off
continue.
next week? I didn't get an email from HR.
Yeah, no weeks off. You got your weeks off like months ago, when I had to go solo. So you used your 2 weeks vacation for
1 week you went solo?
Yeah, for this year. So more playoff bound quarterback talk for this week's investments. We're going to be talking Dak Prescott. His cards have gotten absolutely beat to shit over the last month or so. We'll take a quick look at his. We'll start with in the nines. We'll keep it to levels where we feel most people are budget wise. This card was $356 as of October. It hit a low of $129 10 days ago, and then last sale at $158 the 19th of December. I mean, this card has hit highs of over $400 in the last 12 months. And with the Cowboys going to the playoffs and the Cowboys, having as good a shot as anybody to win the NFC. NFC is as wide open as it possibly can be right now between Rams, a deteriorating Cardinals team, Packers, Cowboys, and Bucks, especially Bucks getting freaking shut out, which killed my fantasy because of Tom Brady. NFC is wide open. Cowboys make any kind of run in the playoffs. This card or any Dak for that matter is going to skyrocket. Even though he has statistically been terrible the last 4 or 5 weeks, if the Cowboys are in the hunt and potentially make the Super Bowl, his stuff will spike. So
yeah, when was the last time they won a playoff game?
I don't know. Google it for me, stat boy.
Oh, I don't know. It was probably 10 years ago. No,
I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, if you look
I guess 2018 maybe.
If you look at your other options for him, you also have his 2016 Optic Hollow. Last sale on the PSA 10 610. This card has stayed pretty range bound over the last 6 months, basically fluctuating between 600 and 800. Last sale on this was 610 on the 13th of December, so it's at the bottom of that range. So, PSA 9 is going to look pretty similar. I'm not sure what the last PSA 9 did, but if you can grab me a quick price on that, it's not in Card Ladder.
Well, sorry. What do you need?
2016 Optic Hollow PSA 9 DAC. I can go to Market Movers, I guess.
I was just looking up that the Cowboys have 4 total playoff wins since 1996.
Well, if they get some now, I mean,
Well, that's what I mean. If there's a lot of Cowboy fans out there, and if they can win a playoff game and get a little bit more excitement around them, you might be able to get a nice quick flip on this on these DAC cards.
yeah, pretty sure Cowboys are the most popular team in America. They are America's team after all. Got it.
PSA 9, 240.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So yeah, 240 and a high of 330. So I mean this card's been pretty stable as far as the last year. A lot
Yeah,
more
well, they probably
stable
don't
than the
come up as
Prism card.
much.
Hmm?
There's only 141 of them, so
Yeah.
when they come up, there's people looking.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot more stability with this optic hollow card, and it's pretty similar values to the Prism. So you got your choice, but once again, Cowboys being as popular as they are in the league, then in my opinion, I think it's a decent buy right now before playoffs start.
I like it. Although I hope they lose every game they play.
Yeah, well, being that we're Giant fans and we're once again going to be in the top 5 picks in the draft, yes, not a huge fan when the Cowboys win. All right, so we have another PSA, and that's public service announcement. We had one last week, and we will have another one today. So definitely been a lot of sports card crime going on. I've literally seen between in person, being in my home city in Raleigh, North Carolina, um, as well as on social media, as most recently as this morning with Steel City Collectibles, that card shops and sports card crime has been ridiculous. So just a public service announcement to everybody to keep your eyes open and be, basically aware when you're at shows, when you're in card stores, when you're, anywhere that you're around high-end cards, that there are definitely people out there that are looking to take advantage and steal. And, we've been seeing it, the trend increase. And some of these products, are $5,000 bills in a very small package, and it's very easy to take sealed wax or high-end cards that may not be serial numbered and grab them and resell them. So it's crazy to see that some of the biggest brands out there, and even down to my own local card shop. I tried to go there. It was probably 3 weeks ago, and literally they were boarded up saying, "Hey, we're closed for the weekend," and there was glass everywhere, and whatever.
Oh, no
So
kidding. I don't even think you told me that.
yeah, I was with my dad. My
Oh,
dad
wow.
was when my parents were in town for Thanksgiving. It was the Friday after, and we were just driving around. I was showing them a little bit of the city and stuff, and I was like, we're just cruising, and I was like, oh, we're right near Oak City, which is one of the sports card shops here in Raleigh. I was like, let's take a ride in. He's like, yeah, sure. And we drove over there, and there was literally wooden boards, glass, and a sign on the door that says we're closed. And you could see why.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. I mean, you only see this stuff happening on social media, but I'm sure it's locally and in smaller cases happening a lot more than we even realize.
yeah. I mean, there's a couple big. Steel City was one. Santiago Sports in Jersey
I
posted
saw that.
something within like the last week. So there's a ton of this going on. So it's only a matter of time, unfortunately, between before these things may get more brazen. As far as people doing things while stores are open, because I would imagine most of these guys lock up their really good shit after hours. I
You
would
would think.
think. You're not leaving your NT, your 2017, 2018 NT boxes out on the floor. I'm hoping you'd lock that stuff up so people know that that stuff's not there. It's only a
Yeah, and
matter of
even if you have nice lock display glass cases with singles and such, I mean, you just put a rock through that as well, I guess.
yeah.
So it's
If
not
you're
you,
if
you
you've
can't
already
you can't take those out every single night. I mean, they've got to sit there.
Yeah, I mean, but if you've already put a rock through the front door, I mean, it's not that
And nothing, yeah,
hard.
nothing stopping you after that.
Yeah. So
S-
it's more just a matter of, if you're not aware of it, to get aware of it, and just keep your wits about you when you're carrying around your stuff at shows, when you're in shop. Not to scare anybody whatsoever, but unfortunately, tough times for a lot of people, and so just keep your wits about you, and just be careful. With that being said, it is the return of the one and only Dr. Bunk.
Uh-oh.
Uh, a very prominent member of the hobby has a very talked about injury. So we are going to bring back Dr. Bunk. For those of you that are unfamiliar, Bunk is a licensed physical therapist, very familiar with injuries and shit like that. I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to say it, but we'll just word it that way.
Sorry for the
Um,
intro.
so he is qualified to talk about injuries and the extent of it. He's not just pulling shit out of his ass. So there's obviously a ton of speculation around Zion, probably one of the top 5 most purchased guys in the hobby over the last few years. So we wanted to dive a little deeper into his current foot injury, whether or not, think he's going to be back, whether or not, he will return to form, et cetera, because that will influence his value and people's decisions to buy, sell, hold. So with that being said, why don't you give the fine folks a breakdown of what the injury is, and based on what you know, what you think could happen.
Well, yeah, based on what I read, I mean, I was trying to find out, I was hoping someone went into a little more deep detail, but I guess it still falls under HIPAA how much information you can tell me. But essentially, what happened is he broke his fifth metatarsal. So the fifth metatarsal, that's essentially not your pinky toe. The metatarsal is the long bone of the foot, but all the way on the outside. Um, yeah, some guys you might remember. I think Kevin Durant had a similar type injury, probably all the way back in his OKC days. And obviously, that's not holding him back at all now. As it relates to Zion, the red flags are they expected him back for the regular season, right? That was the reports and that could have just been, hey, media, go away. We're just going to throw you the nice bone of he'll be back. Don't worry. But he's not back. He was already, he was progressing and doing things. He was doing basketball type activities, and then they had to shut him down because he's having lingering soreness. The issue there with the repair, again, I don't know the area. There's different areas that you can repair this bone, and obviously no bones break in the same spot on everyone. But tradition, there's a poor blood supply in the area, so it's a little tougher to heal in that area. He's also a 6'6", 300+ pound dude trying to do dynamic things on that foot. Um, you know, the injury can be traumatic or it could weaken over time. So in a big dude doing jumping and cutting and pivoting, you can slowly, based on your anatomy, just weaken the area and it finally fails on you. So, and then, again, we have all this social media influence. All right. So the second this kind of stuff comes out, it's, oh, he's lazy, he's immature, there's reports of him skipping his rehab. If that's true, well then, no surprise he might be a little sore with some of his activities. But then the latest report I read is they gave him, an injection to help stimulate bone healing. From my point now, again, we don't have all the information. So, I can't speak to anything. So, but if I'm reading stimulate bone healing, my logical takeaway from that is, well, maybe he doesn't look that good on X-ray. Maybe he's not healing the way he ought to. But if that's the case, why was he doing all the activity he was doing? So, but those are the medical people taking care of that investment, or everything indicated to them he should be moving forward. So, that's all I can take away from it is just it's just taking a little longer to heal, and I don't think it's a crazy concern yet.
But so that's, I mean, everybody in the hobby's question is, they've made comparisons to him and Greg Oden, which, I don't know if you know who Greg Oden is, but Greg Oden was one of the most highly touted people coming out of Ohio State. He
He had
played,
bad knees too.
yeah, he had knee issues, and he played like, you know, half a season or whatever it was, and then never was the same. So I think that's people's concern, is that this injury is going to make him basically non-relevant within the next, however long or
No,
even now.
this
So,
injury should heal up fine, and if and when it does, he'll have absolutely no performance. In fact, the majority of studies done on NBA basketball players with this type injury suggest 85 to 90% of them return at pre-injury level without a decrease in performance.
so if it's your money, are you buying Zion low? Is the question that I have for you based on what you've read in your analysis. If so, let's say he's 100% healthy come March, I guess. I mean, that'd still be another 2 months away, but let's say everything heals up. He's 100% healthy March. Do you feel that this will be lingering, recurring, etc., and or, as I said, if it's your money, I mean, his cards are so incredibly low right now, and I think that may continue for a bit, especially until they announce like he's coming back. So, are you buying the dip, or are you letting it rest?
So as a standalone injury, there's nothing here that would stop me from buying him. But then I'm gonna take a snapshot of the total thing, which is he's had a broken finger, he's had the meniscal surgery, he's had the knee surgery, he's had problems keeping his cardiovascular fitness, and so he's got all these other issues. Now this is just on top of those issues. So maybe those things, but as a standalone issue, the foot does not. I would expect him to make a full recovery and get back to the NBA based on all the statistics and all the things I know. We have good knowledge of this injury. They've been doing this surgery for a long time. The rehab specialists that he has know the biomechanics ins and outs and the things he needs to do to teach him how to push off his foot the proper way and promote the healing, and all the mechanisms that he needs to have as strong as possible to take stress off that area. So as a standalone injury, yes, I would buy low on Zion. That I don't think the foot's going to keep him out.
And just as a quick disclaimer, Sports Card Advantage is not responsible for any financial losses
Yeah,
that you may
not
take.
financial
This
advice.
is for educational and entertainment purposes only. But I'm not in disagreement with you. I think that if he comes back in any capacity and can get it done on the court for whatever, I mean, there are those that are close to him that are basically saying that all these reports of him just eating and not working out and doing whatever are
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
So
a lot of them are probably absolutely false.
yeah,
We don't even know if him skipping rehab and well, the only thing I want to know is, everything that's posted out there indicates does he really care about basketball or not? If I'm going to be buying a dip on this dynamic player, I want to see that he,
so there's a guy, one of his teammates, Jackson Hayes, actually had an interview yesterday or today, and he said that Zion is actually taking a lot of this personally, and the fact that they're saying that he has no love for the game, and like it's affecting him mentally. So I think I don't. It doesn't seem like, unless Jackson Hayes was full of shit, it doesn't seem like that he was lying as far as like that Zion doesn't want to play ball.
yeah, or anybody has a sour taste in his mouth about how he's handling himself. So, I would take Jackson for on his word there, and suggest that I hope Zion comes back bigger and better than ever because of it.
Yeah. And with that being said, we'll tie that. Damn it.
Uh-oh,
I
what'd you
say with
forget?
that being said so much, and then when I listened to last week's episode, I like made me cringe. So here's
I
the
don't
new.
think you said it too much
Oh,
today.
I don't know. We'll get a count. Somebody here's your opportunity for 10 entries
Uh-oh.
into the contest. Count how many times between last episode and this episode I said with that being said, and uh comment on that on our social media posts. I
Wow,
said
10
it
entries.
I said it a ton last week, and I tried to make a point of not saying it this week.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but like we were saying, yeah, if everything is I have to believe a lot of this is false reporting, and we don't have all the information, which is fine. It's a medical condition. I mean, we're not privy to everything, but yeah, I'd be in on Zion. I actually, and hearing all this stuff, if it is false, I hope he does come back and shoves it up there behind.
guy, you could say ass. The people have heard worse on this podcast.
Yeah, I keep it clean.
Just in case the kids hear it one day. Yeah, I mean his optic hollow PSA 9 $165. Prism silver PSA 9 $495. These are at basically tremendous lows, over the last whatever. His PSA 10 Prism Silver went for 1,700. I mean, for a prominent player in the NBA, Prism PSA 10 Silver, I mean, this thing was selling for over $6,000 within the last year. This thing hit a high of $7,000, and now it's selling for 1,700. So, even when people thought he was coming back, this thing was still selling for $4,000, twice of where it is now. So,
Listen, he's 21 years old. If he's not 100%, or there's something not right, you risk hurting something else, or he being out longer, or he has more things that'll affect his career.
yeah,
So if I'm the Pelicans, I think they're doing the right thing, and you hold him out as long as it takes to get him right.
yeah, he's the franchise, and he's as you said, he's 21 years old. He's got, if he can get healthy and get his stuff together, he's got solid 12 to 15-year career ahead of him potentially. So they're definitely, and the Pelicans are not like they're making a run at the title, so they want to get him healthy. But there's definitely buying opportunities on some of his cards, at reasonable rates.
Yeah, I mean, because at the bottom line, even if you don't think if you're on this team, he's not going to play 10 years. He's coming back at some point, and he's going to have, at least for a short period of time, a dynamic stretch, right?
Yeah,
So if you're
I
buying
mean,
low, hoping to flip it, I think that's a very real and imminent possibility.
yeah, it's literally 25% of what it was a year ago. His optic hollow topped out January 2021. So it's less than a year ago at 610. It's $150 right now. So that's literally 4x. So that seems to be the story across the board. So, but get a lottery ticket. I mean, that's basically what you're looking at over the next week. That's really going to be your prime time opportunity. Um, you know, before what potentially could be the January hobby bounce. After Christmas. Now would be the time to take a look at it. All right. We're going to close out with a question from the Peanut Gallery, a topic that we do not spend a whole lot of time talking about, but it's something that is definitely, something that we could take a look at. So the question is, I keep hearing that hockey is the next breakout market for cards. What are you guys seeing in the hockey world?
Other than the Devils suck,
Uh,
I don't know much.
So there's a couple things in play right now. Number one, NHL is temporarily shut down for COVID. Is that correct?
Yeah, I saw the breaking news. The headlines worded weird, but I was under the assumption they were threatening pausing the season. I didn't realize they
Okay.
actually paused this season.
They're
Meanwhile, they let the
skipping.
Islanders play for the last month with a minor league team essentially. But now I
So
guess
they're
people are
skipping. They're
complaining.
skipping the Olympics, and then they're gonna break early. It says NHL to pause season Wednesday, resume as scheduled after Christmas break. Since when does the NHL have a Christmas break?
That's brand news to me.
Okay.
Brand new news to me.
So the NHL will pause its season on Wednesday, 2 days before its planned Christmas break. The league announced Monday. Maybe they're planning on pausing for the Olympics, but now they're not. All NHL facilities will be closed from Wednesday through Saturday as the league tries to weather the several COVID-19 outbreaks. So they're taking 5 days off.
Right. So it's a bigger headline than it was.
So, with that being said, add that to the total. Hockey market. Your hockey market is a bit of a interesting situation.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah, Connor McDavid right now is the hockey market. Connor McDavid stuff is surging like crazy. But the interesting part about the hockey market is you have a guy, and I'm going to butcher his name, Leon Draisaitl, also on Edmonton with Connor, leading the league in points, leading the league in goals. And if you look at his cards have gone nothing but down over the course of the last month. So it's following the rest of the hobby. as far as the trend going into December, Christmas time, etc. His Young Guns rookie Pop 395 PSA 10 2014 was selling for 1900 on the 20th of November. Last sale 2 days ago, 1350. So that's basically 20-ish, 25% or so reduction in price over the last month, and the guy's leading the league in points and goals. But if you look at Connor stuff is surging. For those of you who don't know hockey, Connor McDavid is basically your Patrick Mahomes, Giannis superstar, and his Young Guns over the last month went from basically 3,200 up about 10%. Last sale at 3,600. So the whole market across most things is going down. This card going up. And if you look at a bunch of other guys in the league, some of the vintage stuff, look at Mario Lemieux rookies, look at some other things. It's either flat, or going down. And another example is Kirill Kaprizov, another Young Guns type stud in the NHL.
It was hot for a month.
Yeah, he's
Made the Beckett hot list.
5th overall in points. His stuff is flat. And then Ovechkin is I guess you could say veteran superstar.
His stuff does well.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick look.
His stuff, Sidney Crosby stuff.
Yeah, so Ovechkin, his stuff has been basically it's bounced around between 8,000 and 9,000. His PSA 10 Young Guns from 2005, definitely higher end, and his PSA 9 at 3,400 has gone nothing but up over the course of the last 12 months, and went from 2,700 to 3,100 in the last month. So certain guys, superstars, guys that are people are into, that stuff's going up. I would imagine most people are not that familiar with Leon Draisaitl, however you pronounce his name, so his market isn't being sustained. And Crosby's long retired, right?
Sidney?
Yeah.
That'd be news to me as well. I don't think so, sir.
And
Crosby. Am I looking that up? By the way, your boy Leon's got 500 career points.
That's good, right?
Yeah, that's good for being 26 years old. Yeah, it's really good.
Well, his card market doesn't reflect it. So what you're saying is Leon Draisaitl, however the fuck you pronounce that guy's name, is the Trae Young of the NHL, because Young is also producing well, and his card market has gone nothing but down.
See, I can spit off to you baseball stats all day, but I don't know where McDavid career right now relates to. Yeah, Sydney's playing this year. Come on, Sydney's got 1,300 career points.
Guy, we've talked about hockey a total of 3 times on this podcast. I do not follow.
That's because nobody cares about hockey, Boomer.
The last player that I was into in the hockey world was Martin Brodeur, and that was God knows how long ago. And now the only thing Brodeur that you look at or see on social media is his daughter.
So McDavid, 2 years younger than your boy Leon, and he already has over 600 career points.
Yeah, so they're both studs, and it just doesn't make any sense. But McDavid's the name. He's the name that everybody knows, and he's the name that guys are going after. So, with
social media.
With that being said, there's an opportunity for some of these guys that are studs in the league to grab and pick up some of their cards, especially. Some of these PSA 9s can be very affordable. And, Kirill Kaprizov, his Young Guns 2020 Upper Deck, he could be the next big thing. You can get hit raw for $92.
To your point, in the junk slab era we're in right now, there are some absolutely awesome nines out there that are definitely getting the shaft in price right now.
Yeah, I mean that is a PSA 9 on this card probably is going for right around raw or maybe even less. So if you can get it for less than $100 and he steps up and becomes the next like stud of the league, this definitely should go up in the next couple of years. So
I think we've met our quota on hockey time.
Yeah. So to circle back on this question, there's definitely a little bit of divergence in the hockey market. There's some stuff that's going up, some stuff that's going down. If you do your homework and look at your charts, there are opportunities out there. I would look for some of the younger guys that are on the come up more than your Crosbys and Ovechkins, just because those guys, I mean, those cards have done nothing but surge over the last 18 months. And you will be, if you're trying to buy in now, you're buying at the top, and I'm not a fan. You may miss a few boats, and it could go another 100%. But I'd rather stay on the sideline and be safe versus buying in. I mean, talk to some of these guys who bought into the hobby in April and ask, whether or not they wish they would have stayed on the sidelines.
Yeah, plus you get a buyer from Canada. Nobody likes shipping to Canada. I'd rather ship domestically.
Guy, do not offend me, our 3 Canadian fans of this podcast.
I mean, I've shipped there, but if I'm selling 100 hockey cards a month, a good percentage might be across the border.
Yeah.
And I got to start filling out custom slips and weird things.
All right, get off my lawn for the second time today.
It's a real point.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, with that be... Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a half one. So if your answer does not have a 0.5, it doesn't count.
And on that note, we are going to wrap up a quick summary of the contest that we got going on for Christmas. Follow us on social media, SportsCardADVTG, Twitter, Instagram. Comment. Now you made the rules so complicated here. All right,
if you comment on the post listing the episode on
yes.
Instagram or Twitter, you get 1 entry.
Yes.
If you comment in both places, you get 2 entries. You get the winner of the best emoji combo describing Jeff will receive 5 injuries as judged and selected by myself.
And entries. Entries, not injuries.
5 entries, right? And if somebody actually takes the time to go back and listen to last episode and this episode and count the number of times that you say, with that being said, they will receive. And now, is it everyone who gets the correct answer or the first one to do it?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because you'll have a piggyback. People just start putting the same number up there. So you can't give it to everyone.
But you also have to consider that the number, I mean, the guess may be wrong.
True, but if 3 people post the same number, if I'm the 4th one, I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah. Well, what do we want to do? Let's go first person to get it right on each social media channel.
All right, done. And they will receive 10 entries into the Bad Mojo Devin Booker.
Yeah, the Devin Booker errant purchase, which is
it's not a silver.
Yes,
the card is silver, but not a silver parallel.
Correct. It is a 2015 Devin Booker Prism base card. Last sale about $120. Usually this thing comps around 150 or so. Which I think you'll probably get back to in January. So, well worth the 5 minutes to throw the entries up there, and we'll pick a winner next week once we go through everything.
So to recap, follow and comment on Instagram, 1 entry. Follow and comment on Twitter, another entry. Best emoji combo to describe Jeffrey, judged by me and selected by me, 5 entries. And then 10 entries to, the first person to correctly post on each channel the number of times you've said, with that being said, in the last 2 weeks.
Yes, correct.
All right, that's it.
With one of them being a half, so keep that in mind.
We'll see if people listen.
All right. we are done. We've hit our hour mark for the week. Merry Christmas to all of you that celebrate. Happy Hanukkah to all of my Jewish brothers out there who already celebrated. And we'll see you guys next week.